So welcome to the third session of module 1, kinematics of machines. So in this lecture we are going to see what is Grashoff's law and inversion of Grashoff's law and different inversions of 4-bar mechanism, single slider crank chain mechanism and double slider crank chain mechanism. Okay, so first of all let us see what is Grashoff's law. So all of you know in the previous slide or in the previous lecture we have discussed in order to obtain a mechanism usable or in order to make the mechanism usable, any one of the any one of its link should be having a rotational motion. So in this mechanism you can see link number 2 or crank is having pure rotational motion, right? So whereas link number 1 is fixed, which is a frame. So whereas link number 3, so which is having a oscillatory motion, right, semicircular motion, whereas rocker is having rocking motion, right? So therefore we can use this 4-bar chain or quadratic chain for some other applications, because one of the link is having a rotational motion or revolution. Okay, so in this 4-bar chain or 4-bar kinematic chain, so this one is the smallest link, which is the crank. Okay, so this is the fixed link, whereas this is the largest link, we call it as a connecting rod. Okay, so the largest link is the connecting rod, whereas the smallest link is the crank, and this is called the rocker or oscillator. Rocker or oscillator. So these are the 4 links. Now let us see what is the statement of Grashoff's law. So here Grashoff's law states that in a 4-bar mechanism, the sum of the shortest and longest link lengths should not be greater than sum of the remaining 2 link lengths if there is to be a continuous relative motion between the 2 links. So which is nothing but, so in this 4-bar mechanism, in this 4-bar mechanism, so the sum of the shortest and longest link length, so shortest link is AB, that is L2, and the longest link is L3, that is BC. So L2 plus L3, that is sum of the shortest and longest link length, should be less than or equals to sum of the other 2 link lengths. So other 2 links are AD, that is a fixed link frame L1, and another one is DC L4, which acts as a rocker. Okay, so according to Grashoff's law, this is the statement: sum of the shortest and longest link length should be less than or equals to sum of the other 2 link lengths. So then only one of the link will have a rotational motion or revolution. Okay, so if it is having a revolution, then we can use it for practical application. Suppose uh, if if we design a 4-bar mechanism which does not satisfy this condition, then we call such type of mechanism as a non-Grashoff's 4-bar chain. Okay, so if any of the mechanism 4-bar mechanism which does not satisfy this condition, we call it as a non-Grashoff's 4-bar chain. So in such conditions, none of the links produces or makes a complete revolution related to the other link. Okay, so next one, let us see what is inversion of a Grashoff's chain, or in simple, inversion of a mechanism. So as discussed in the previous uh, lecture, when one of the links of a kinematic chain is fixed, then the chain is called, or kinematic chain is called, a mechanism, right? So we can obtain as many mechanisms as the number of links in a kinematic chain by fixing different links of a kinematic chain. Okay. So this method of obtaining different mechanisms by fixing various links in a kinematic chain or 4-bar mechanism is called as inversion of mechanism. The mechanisms obtained by this method may be different in appearance and the purpose for which they are used. Except original mechanism, all other mechanisms are termed as inversion of an original mechanism. From practical point of view, a kinematic chain with 4 lower pairs is very important. So these 4 lower pairs may be either sliding, turning or combination of both. It is also found that a number of complicated machines are based on combinations of various inversion of these simple chains. So in simple, you can see in the diagram. So this is the 4-bar mechanism. So in this 4-bar mechanism, we have fixed the link number 1. Therefore, this is the first inversion of kinematic chain. Okay. So instead of fixing the first link, if I fix the second link, what happens? So I will get the double cranking, right? Because we are fixing the shortest link. Therefore, link number 3 and link number 1 crank acts as a crank and produces the double crank mechanism. Okay. So this is the second inversion. This is the first inversion. This is the second inversion. And this is the third inversion. Third inversion is nothing but what? Instead of fixing link number 1 and link number 2, if I fix the link number 3, instead of fixing 1 and 2, if I fix the link number 3, this is nothing but a third inversion. Okay. So third inversion. So this is also crank rocker mechanism because link number 2 acts as a crank and link number 4 acts as a rocker. So the vice versa of a first inversion. Link number 3 or third inversion is the vice versa of a the first inversion. Okay. Now what is the fourth inversion? So fourth inversion is nothing but if I fix the link number 4 and left other links free, then we call it as a fourth inversion. Fourth inversion. So in the fourth inversion, none of the links makes a complete revolution. Okay, only link number 3 and 1 make the rocking action or rocker, acts as a rocker. Therefore, we call it as a double rocker mechanism because link number 3 and 1 acts as a rocker. Therefore, we call it as a double rocker mechanism. So in simple, inversion is nothing but what? Any one of the kinematic chain fixed at a particular time. Okay. So by fixing different link of the same kinematic chain, we are going to obtain the different types of mechanism. So that is nothing but a inversion. So in this animation, you can see, so this is the first inversion because link number 1 is fixed, right? So therefore, the link number 2 acts as a crank. You can see here, so it is rotating with respect to this origin because link number 1 is fixed. Okay, so in the second inversion, the shortest link crank is fixed. Shortest link crank is fixed. Therefore, other two links are acts as a crank. Therefore, this is a double crank mechanism. Double crank mechanism. So in the fourth inversion, uh, the link number 4 is fixed. So this is a crank, right? Shortest link. This is the longest link, and this one is fixed link or frame. Since we are fixing the link number 4, other two links are acts as a rocker. Therefore, this is a double rocker mechanism. So next one, the classification of various possible mechanisms of kinematic chain with 4 lower pairs is as follow. So first one is 4-bar chain, or sometimes we call it as a quadratic chain. This one. And second important type of kinematic chain is single slider crank chain. This one is the single slider crank chain, and third one is double slider crank chain. So this one is called single slider crank chain because we have a single slider, so which is sliding on this surface, and the crank, due to the rotation of this crank, there is a movement or sliding of this slider takes place. Therefore this one is called single slider crank chain. Whereas in the case of a double slider crank chain, we have the double sliders which are mounted or fixed perpendicular to each other. Okay, so in the 4-bar chain or quadratic chain, it consists of 4 turning pairs, right? So this is first turning pair, second one, third one, and fourth one. So it consists of 4 turning pairs or revolute pairs. Okay, so whereas in this case, so it has 3 turning pairs. This is one turning pair, this is second turning pair, and this is third turning pair. Whereas this slider and the surface is having sliding pair. So 3 turning pairs and one sliding pair. In case of double slider crank chain, so it consists of 2 turning pairs and 2 sliding pairs. So these are the 2 turning pairs, whereas slider having sliding pairs. Now let us see the inversion of each, that is inversion of 4-bar chain, inversion of single slider crank chain, and inversion of double slider crank chain. Now let us see what is the inversion of 4-bar chain. And we have studied 4-bar chain in the last lecture. What is 4-bar chain? So 4-bar chain is the simplest and basic kinematic chain. So it consists of 4 links which forms the turning pairs. Okay, so at the intersection of uh, the frame and the crank, crank and the connecting rod and the rocker, rocker and the frame, 4 turning pairs. So length of 4 links may be different. Okay, so in a 4-bar chain, the shortest link will always make the complete revolution with respect to the other 3 links. So this link is called crank or driver. The link which makes a partial rotation or oscillates is called as lever or rocker. The link which connects the crank and lever is called a coupler or connecting rod. The fixed link is called frame. So the inversion of 4-bar chain are as follows. First inversion. So the example for first inversion is beam engine. Okay, sometimes we call it as crank and lever mechanism. So this is the figure which represent the beam engine. So usually we use this beam engine to lift the oil from the well. Beam engine is the popular example of crank and lever mechanism. So which consists of 4 links. This is the link number 1, crank is the link number 2, connecting rod is the link number 3, and this oscillator is the link number 4. This is the output. This is the output where in which we can use it for lifting the oil. Okay, so in this mechanism, when the crank rotates about the fixed center, that is O, the lever oscillates about the fixed center. This fixed center, this lever starts to oscillate. So due to the rotation of the crank, the end lever connected to the piston rod reciprocates inside the cylinder. So usually this mechanism is used to convert rotary motion into reciprocating motion. So this is the first inversion of 4-bar chain because link number 1 is fixed. Okay, since the link number 1 is fixed and 2 acts as a crank, so this comes under first inversion of 4-bar chain. So now let us see the second inversion of 4-bar chain. So the example for second inversion of 4 bar chain is coupled wheel of a locomotive. So this is the figure which represents the locomotive engine or locomotive wheel. So coupled wheel of a locomotive is an example of a double crank mechanism which consists of four links. Link number one, which is fixed. Link number two acts as a crank. Link number three is connecting rod. Link number four again acts as a crank. Since we have two cranks, so it comes under second inversion of 4 bar chain. Okay, so in this mechanism, uh, link AB and link CD are of equal lengths, and link AD and link BC are of equal lengths. So here AB and CD acts as a crank, so which are connected to the respective wheels, and link BC and link AD is fixed. A link AD is fixed in order to maintain a constant center to center distance between them. This mechanism is used to transmit rotary motion from one wheel to the another wheel. So next one, third inversion of a 4 bar chain. So example for third inversion of 4 bar chain is Watt's indicator. Sometimes we call it as double lever mechanism. So this is the diagram which represent the Watt's indicator. So it consists of two levers, that is BF and FD are the two levers. Therefore it is called a double lever mechanism. So this comes under third inversion of 4 bar chain. Uh, this Watt's indicator mechanism is also called as Watt's straight line mechanism. So which consists of four links you can see in the figure. So this is link number one, which is fixed, link number two, link number three, and this lever is link number four. The point E is connected to the piston, whose displacement is directly proportional to the gas or steam pressure in the cylinder. On any small displacement of this point F, the pointer E at the end of the link, this AE or CDE, traces approximately a straight line like this. Approximately straight line this pointer will trace. Okay, so usually we use this Watt's indicator to represent the a pressure inside the cylinder or temperature inside the cylinder. Okay, so this is one of the best example for third inversion of a 4 bar chain. So the next concept is single slider crank chain. So single slider crank chain is a modification of a 4 bar chain. It consists of three turning pairs and one sliding pair. This mechanism is used to convert rotary motion into reciprocating motion. For example, reciprocating engine mechanism. So inversion of single slider crank chain are as follows. So first one is the first inversion. So under the first inversion, reciprocating engine is the example for single slider crank chain. So reciprocating engine mechanism is the simplest type of single slider crank chain. You can see in the figure. It consists of three turning pairs and one sliding pair. So this is one turning pair, second one, and third one. These are the three turning pair, whereas here we have the sliding pair. So between the these guides and the slider, we have a sliding pair, one sliding pair, and three turning pairs. The four links in a mechanisms. First one is a frame, is the link number one. Next, crank is the link number two. connecting rod is the link number 3, whereas slider or piston is the link number 4. Okay. So as the crank rotates, this one, as the crank rotates, the slider reciprocates, this slider reciprocates in the cylinder, and hence converts rotary motion into reciprocating motion. So in the animation you can see a multi-cylinder reciprocating engine. So this cylinder is reciprocating inside the cylinder in order to impart motion to the shaft. The shaft is rotating because all these cylinders are due to the reciprocating motion of this cylinder. So we are getting the rotational motion to this shaft. Next one, second inversion of single slider crank chain. So example for second inversion of single slider crank chain is oscillating cylinder engine. So what do you mean by oscillating cylinder engine? So as the crank rotates, this slider or this piston starts to reciprocate inside the cylinder. So in the meantime, this entire cylinder portion starts to oscillate with respect to this point. Therefore, we call it as an oscillating cylinder engine. So we can see in the animation. So it is having oscillatory motion with respect to this center point. Okay. So here oscillating cylinder engine is example of a second inversion of single slider crank chain, which consists of 4 links. This is link number 3, which is fixed one, link number 2 crank, whereas link number 1 is the connecting rod or piston rod, whereas this is the link number 4. Cylinder is the link number 4. Oscillating cylinder engine is used to convert reciprocating motion into rotary motion. So in this mechanism, link number 3, that is connecting rod forming turning pair, is fixed. Okay, this turning pair is fixed. When the crank, that is link number 2, rotates, the piston attached to a piston rod or connecting rod reciprocate, and then the cylinder oscillates about a pin pivoted to the fixed link at this point. Okay, so this is nothing but a oscillating cylinder engine. So another example for second inversion of a single slider crank chain is crank and slotted lever mechanism. Crank and slotted lever mechanism is another example for second inversion. So the crank and slotted lever mechanism is shown in the figure. The crank AB, so this is the crank, rotates about a fixed center B. The end A uh, having form of a sliding block which fits the slot in link CD. So this is the slot, link CD is the slot. So therefore it is called crank and a slotted lever mechanism. Okay. So as A rotates about B, so this A starts to slides up and down inside this link CD and causes this slot to oscillate about the center C. So because of sliding movement of this slider A, there is a oscillatory motion of this slot about the point C. Okay, so in the meantime, this RAM, this is called RAM. So RAM is operated backwards and forward. Okay, so if it moves in this direction, so we obtain the cutting stroke. So if it comes back in this direction, we will get the return stroke. Okay, so we use this mechanism in shaper machine. We call it as a quick return motion mechanism because the forward stroke is longer, whereas a return stroke is a shorter. Therefore, we call it as a quick return motion mechanism. So return motion is as quick as possible compared to the forward stroke. Okay. So we can see the end position of the ram. So this is the initial position of the ram. So when this crank starts to rotate in a clockwise direction, so due to the upward and downward movement of this slider, there is a oscillatory motion. So it starts to move to this direction. Then it will reach the position E2. So we call this motion or movement as a cutting stroke. Okay. Then it will come back from this position to this position. We call it as a return stroke. Okay. The ratio between cutting and return stroke is given by, so A1 B A2 clockwise, that is this is A1 B A2, this alpha, angle alpha, and return stroke in clockwise, that is A2 B A1, this angle A2 B beta. Okay, or 360 minus alpha, both are same. So we can determine the cutting time and idle time by using this formula. Okay, so cutting time to return time, the ratio usually varies between 2 is to 1, and practical limit is 3 is to 2. The cutting speed and return speed is not constant throughout the stroke. So it is minimum when rocker arm is at two extremities, and speed is maximum when the rocker arm is vertical. So you can see in the animation how this crank slotted mechanism works. You can see this slotted link, and this is a slider, and this wheel acts as a crank, and this is the ram. So we use this mechanism in shaper machine. So next one, third inversion of single slider crank chain. So example for this is a rotary engine. We call this one as a genome engine also. Okay, rotary engine is also called as genome engine. So this is the figure which represent the genome engine or rotary engine. This rotary engine is an example of third inversion of single slider crank chain, which consists of four links. Uh, it is a rotary cylinder V-type IC engine which consists of 5, 6 or 7 cylinders in one plane, and all revolve about a fixed center. This is the fixed center. All these cylinders revolve about this fixed center. Okay, so in this mechanism, link 1, that is cylinder is the link number 1, which revolve. You can see in the animation cylinder is revolving, whereas link number 2, crank, which is fixed, crank is fixed, and link number 3 is connecting rod or piston. Link number 3 is piston, which reciprocates inside this cylinder, and link number 4 is the connecting rod which oscillates. You can see here oscillating, green color. So in old days, this rotary engine was used in aviation, but nowadays these engines have been replaced by gas turbines. So next, third inversion. So best example for this third inversion is Whitworth quick return motion mechanism. So this is another important types of quick return motion mechanism, that is Whitworth quick return motion mechanism. So this is the figure which represent the Whitworth quick return motion mechanism. This in Whitworth quick return motion mechanism is used in power axa, where in which we used to cut the metal pieces. So in this mechanism, driving crank, so the driving crank, that is link number 3, is rotate in a clockwise direction with uniform angular speed. Okay, the slider A, the slider A, which is attached at the end of the driving link, also reciprocates in the slotted link. This is the slotted link, link number 1, which reciprocates inside this slotted link and causes it to oscillate about the pivot point D. This is the pivot point. So due to the oscillatory motion of this slider, this slotted bar oscillates about the point D. Okay. This connecting rod, which is connected at one end of the slotted link, which carries ram and a tool. Okay, so when the driving crank moves from the position A2 to A1, when the driving crank moves the position from A2 to A1, so we call it as a cutting stroke. Okay, so it passes through the angle alpha and we call it as a cutting stroke. Okay, so when the driving cranks moves from this A1 to A2, A1 to A2 through the angle beta, we call it as a return stroke. Okay, so thus the angle turned by the driving crank alpha, that is alpha, will be for cutting stroke and beta will be for return stroke. Since the driving link rotates at uniform angular speed, the ratio of cutting stroke to the return stroke is given by alpha by beta is equals to alpha by beta can be written as 360 minus alpha. Okay, so you can see the animation of Whitworth quick return motion mechanism. So the next one is fourth inversion of single slider crank chain. So the example for fourth inversion of single slider crank chain is hand pump. So hand pump is an example of fourth inversion of single slider crank chain, which consists of four links. You can see fixed link is link number 1, or this plunger is link number 1, and this handle is link number 2, and this connecting rod is link number 3, and this outer frame, fixed frame, is the link number 4. So this inversion is obtained by keeping the slider fixed. You can see this slider is fixed. So in this mechanism, you can see link number 1 reciprocates vertically in a cylinder, that is link number 4. At that time, link number 2 and link number 3 oscillates about the respective pin joints. So in the animation you can see how does this hand pump works. So when the plunger oscillates inside the cylinder, so during the motion, you can see there is a opening and closing of the valve takes place, and due to that, a pressure built up inside the cylinder, and the water will come out from the pipe. So next one, a double slider crank chain. So we have studied what is double slider crank chain. So double slider crank chain is a kinematic chain which consists of two sliding pairs and two turning pairs. So inversion of double slider crank chains are as follows. So the first inversion, the example for the first inversion of double slider crank chain is elliptical trammel. So this is called the elliptical trammel. This elliptical trammel is an example of first inversion of double slider crank chain, which consists of four links. Okay, so this is link number one. This slider is link number one. This bar is link number two. Second slider is link number three, and the frame is the link number four. So this instrument used for drawing ellipses. Okay, so this inversion is obtained by fixing link number 4, that is outer frame or slotted frame, which has two straight grooves, you can see, and these grooves are perpendicular to each other. Link number 1 and link number 3, that is these sliders, slides in link number 4, that is in the slots provided, corresponding to link number 2 in a bar. Okay, so any point, that is point S, on the extension of the link CB will trace the path of an ellipse when the slider, that is C and B, slides along their respective slots. Okay, now we have to prove this pointer traces the ellipse. So in the animation you can see the pointer at the extension of the link CB is tracing the ellipse. So during the movement of the sliders along the slots provided. Now we have to prove the pointer S traces the ellipse. So for that I will consider the triangle CBS, this triangle CBS. So this is S, this is B, and this is point C, and this is angle theta, and this is X. So in this triangle I want X value, therefore X can be written as X is equals to CS into cos theta. So we can write X is equals to CS into cos theta. Next, cos theta can be written as X by CS. Similarly, I will call this one as equation number 1. Similarly, so if I consider the triangle uh, SB and this triangle, let me draw the triangle. And this is angle theta, and this is Y value. This is Y value, this triangle, this triangle. So here I want Y value, therefore Y can be written as BS into sin theta, because this is opposite side, no? Y is opposite side, therefore opposite side of right angle triangle, Y is equals to BS into sin theta. So sin theta can be written as Y by BS. Let me call this one as equation number 2. Now squaring and adding equation number 1 and 2. So what happens? Sin square theta plus cos square theta is equals to Y by BS whole square plus X by CS whole square. So we know that sin square theta plus cos square theta is equals to 1, and these are the remaining terms, X square by CS square plus Y square by BS square. So this is the equation of an ellipse. This is the equation of ellipse. Let me call this one as equation number 3. So therefore it represent the pointer S, draw the ellipse. Now if the point S is at the midpoint of the bar CB, suppose if the pointer S is at midpoint of bar CB, then CS is equals to BS, right? CS is equals to BS, equal length. So then equation 3 becomes, so I will substitute in place of CS. So what happens? So the entire equation becomes x square plus y square is equals to CS square. So this equation represent equation of a circle. Therefore, so if the pointer S is shifted to the uh, intermediate point between CB, it traces the circle. So next one, second inversion of a double slider crank chain. So the example for second inversion of double slider crank chain is Scotch yoke mechanism. So this is an example of second inversion of double slider crank chain. So it also consists of four links. So fixed link or frame is the, or sorry, this is the link number 1, B is the link number 1, this connecting rod is the link number 2, slider is the link number 3, and frame is the link number 4. So this mechanism is used to convert rotary motion into reciprocating motion. So in the animation you can see rotary motion is getting converted into reciprocating motion. So this inversion is obtained by fixing either link number 1 or link number 4. Okay. When the crank, that is link number 2, rotates about B, then the frame, that is link number 4, sorry, this link number 3 reciprocates, and this fixed link guides the frame. Okay. So next one, third inversion of double slider crank chain. So the example is Oldham's coupling. So usually couplings are used to join the two shafts, whether it is intersecting or non-intersecting, but they are used to join with the help of couplings. So here Oldham's coupling is a type of couplings used to join two parallel non-intersecting shafts. So in the figure we can see, so the figure A shows the entire assembly of a Oldham's coupling, and figure B shows the only these flanges and intermediate piece, whereas figure C represent the intermediate piece, so which is having tongues perpendicular to each other in the opposite faces. So both the shaft, you can see driving shaft and a driven shaft, so both the shafts are coupled in such a way that if one shaft rotates, then the other shaft also rotate with the same speed. So in the animation you can see this is the driving shaft, so power is transmitting from driving shaft to the driven shaft through this coupling. So this intermediate piece is sliding between uh, the flange, first flange and the second flange. Okay, so this type of inversion is obtained by fixing link number 2, supporting frame, link number 2. The shafts to be connected consists of two flanges. Okay, link number 1 and link number 3. So rigidly fastened at their ends by forging. So these flanges have diametrical slots cut in their inner faces. The intermediate piece, which is shown in figure C, that is link number 4, is a circular disc which have tongues two tongues T1 and T2 on each face at right angles to each other. The link 4 can slide in the slots of a flanges. When the driving shaft is rotated, the flange causes the intermediate piece to rotate at the same speed through which the flange has rotated. An intermediate piece will transmit the same motion to flange, and hence the shaft, that is a driven shaft, will also rotate with the same speed. Okay.